and welcome back to our weekly DSS break. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're live here every Thursday to talk about data science experiences and best practices with leading data professionals. In a quick 15-minute break, I'm Anna Annison, CEO and founder of Formulated by, the home of Data Science Salon, and I'm streaming here live from our headquarters here in the heart of Miami. Next to the design district. And I'm really excited today because I have here Michelle Coca, who is AVP Data Science at Amerin Bank, one of the largest community banks here, headquartered right here in Florida. And Michelle is also responsible for implementing data mining and statistical machine learning solutions to derive customer behavior and enacting data-driven business initiatives in the marketing side, which is really interesting to us, especially because we are a marketing agency here. And today she's going to be telling us more about her expertise, how to turn data into knowledge. And also she's here, part of our community, and we're going to be getting together also in person later today, which is really exciting. So welcome, Michelle. It's really nice to have you here. Thanks for joining us for our DSS break episode. And maybe you could start by telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, well, thank you, Anna, first for inviting me to do this break. Love the previous videos you've done in the past. Um, like you said, I'm currently a data scientist at Amber Bank. To give a little background on myself, I majored in poli-sci and economics, and then lean more to the economic side of things. So I did a master's in applied economics, and Amber Bank's been my employer since I graduated. And my role here has evolved over time. I first started off as a CRM statistical analyst. And then about in 2017, I was transitioned into data scientist in the marketing side of the business. So just helping them kind of upsell, cross sell, do some advanced analytics on customer churn, um, early payoffs, and different initiatives the bank has going on, which they want to be a little bit more data driven.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. And maybe we could talk a little bit about some of the projects that you've been really excited about for the last couple of years, the past years that you've been there.
Yes, I think one of the major initiatives we had was the CD renewal probability model.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, beforehand, we used to market and send emails to everyone that had their CD up for renewal. And then we identified that there are certain customers are more likely to renew without needing the extra marketing push. So we created a model to see which are the customers that need that additional call from like their bank officer to really get them to renew and stay the deposits here at the bank. And we actually saw a huge interest cost savings by not marketing to those that are more likely to renew at a table rate compared to maybe the promo offer that the bank officer needs to offer.
Cool. No, that's really cool. That's like real difference. And, the bottom line, which I know that the stakeholders really care about those things, right?
Yes.
And what do you consider to be the main challenges when it comes to embracing data to get information? Because I'm sure you guys face specific, I mean, everybody faces challenges, but what are some of the ones that you're really facing?
Sure. I think any data scientist will tell you that sometimes the data can be messy. Sometimes, luckily, we're working in a financial service industry where most of the data we get is it's mostly clean because by regulations we need to have it at a certain quality for OCC regulations. But there's still moments, for example, when we had to do mailings for like international customers. Sometimes our core system doesn't, very friendly for international addresses. So there's some cleanup there, as well as, sometimes we do have to, catch certain, manual errors that occur when a customer is opening an account online. Maybe they're not sure where to put certain information in, and you might find, their state in the country or things like that. And that kind of, goes before we can do any model, we had to clean it up, and we always try to work with our IT team to make sure we have some safeguards in place or at least some quality checks afterwards so we can have the cleanest data so we could push models to production as quickly as possible.
Right. Right. No, that makes sense. And I know you're going to be participating in the in-person coffee chat today with us at the DSS Miami event at For Geeks later on. We're going to be talking about best practices and challenges of moving data science models to production. And you talked a little bit about that just now. And what is your advice to data scientists and managers to really successfully do this, to successfully build and deploy machine learning models? Because I mean, we talk about this all the time, so it would be really great to get your perspective on that.
Sure. I think the number one thing is to first like really have the buy-in from the stakeholders, really knowing exactly what they're trying to solve for. Really it's going to lead you to the best way to deploy your model in the future. If you know that the audience you're working with isn't very tech savvy, you could start first by, deploying it through Excel, a tool that most, lines users are familiar with. And then gradually, you start, pushing out to something more advanced, like maybe to the CRM if you have that system in place at your organization. Or one of the tools we have here at Amarin Bank is our Connect, where it's kind of like a user interface where they can use our models that hosted on the server, and they could even adjust certain parameters and they get a new prediction based on what the input. So there's different depending where your organization is on, on the tools you're able to acquire. There's different ways you can do it, and also the audience, what they're most comfortable with. Because at the end of the day, if you just create a great model, but that doesn't get used, it's more like trivia than actually delivering any insights.
Well, they always have all these crazy statistics that most models don't never make it to production, right? So, speaking about tools, what are some of the tools that you like to use? Maybe some of the free tools that are out there, some open source stuff. Do you use any of that, or you're not really allowed to use that because of the bank?
Exactly. We're not allowed to use open source, but luckily, through our studio, they do have like an enterprise licensing
Cool.
available for organizations like ours, which is really beneficial. And with our studio Workbench, we actually use our studio like interface, the IDE, as well as have access to Jupyter notebooks, where some of our peers that are more Python inclined can use it as well, and we could
Mhm.
interactively, share our models and scripts through there. So it's really great tool for whichever coding language you're more comfortable with. Another software we do use is SAS. It's a little bit more of on the legacy side of things, and it's not as open source, but I believe they have some initiatives to eventually go through that.
Yeah, I haven't heard
Avenue.
anybody mention SAS for quite some time.
Yeah,
So
we use it a lot because of certain areas in our bank need to program things, and that's been like, for long-standing software to help, automate certain software.
functions and things, yeah. No, that makes sense. And what about some of the kind of the blogs that you read and things like that? Like people love when people share their favorites.
Yes, so I follow Matt Danchel on LinkedIn a lot. He and also subscribe to his newsletter. I think that's really good. And also on Twitter, there's I believe it's R for data science, like hashtag where for Tidy Tuesday, basically a lot of people like kind of jump in the Twitterverse and kind of use the same data set that they provide like every Tuesday, and they create awesome data visualizations. Where that's one of the things that fascinates me because I try to always improve my game on that. So because some of these visuals that other creators are doing is phenomenal, and it's super easy to ingest, and they also sometimes share their code in the back end so you can see how they created it, and you could eventually like alter it to your purposes, which is really neat too.
Cool. No, that's cool. Yeah, no, I like that. The community is very active on Twitter, which is really nice.
Yes.
Um, so the last question I'm gonna wrap up with is what trends do you see kind of for marketing in 2022?
Yes. I know that Google has mentioned that they're going to go cookieless, right?
Yeah, I know. So what do you think about that? Because like everybody's a little bit freaked out about that now.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to maybe start relying a little bit more on where we actually do the advertisement buys, like let's say the Facebooks of the world, Verizon, Yahoo. So we could get maybe a little bit better attribution on that way, because if we lose the cookies, we can't really follow the user throughout their customer
Yeah,
journey.
exactly. So, well, hopefully, we'll figure it out and get through that. So, and Thank you so much. It's been really lovely to catch up with you. And if you guys happen to be in Miami, join Michelle and other speakers from our local community tonight at 4 at a DSS pop up event today at 4 Geeks Academy in Brickell. So, and we've dropped a link to register for more information. And all of these talks are also going to be available on our on demand as well virtually. So if you can't make it, so thanks again, Michelle, and thanks so much for providing us that nice overview about what you do at your job. And I'm really excited to have you here and see you later too.
Yeah, thank you so
So
much, and
yeah,
I'll see you at the event.
thanks guys. Have a great rest of the week.
Bye.
Bye.